What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. First things first, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And George, finally, some concrete transfer news for incomings at Chelsea. And no, it's not Erling Haaland, unfortunately, but it is advanced negotiations for France and Sevilla defender Jules Kounde. Obviously, the Frenchman is 22 years of age, had a great season last season in La Liga. He does have a release clause of 80 million euros, but as of now, negotiations between Chelsea and Sevilla are ongoing for a swap deal involving Kurt Zouma. So Chelsea are negotiating 30 to 35 million euros plus Kurt Zouma, which will see Jules Kounde come to Stamford Bridge. First, George, I just want to get your opinion on Kounde as a player, and do you think he'll be a good fit at Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about him. I was doing some reading this morning, and I know that he can play right back as well as centre half. An exciting prospect, and I think even Pep Guardiola was interested in him a window or so ago and inquired Sevilla about him. So, I mean, if Pep Guardiola is in the conversation to try and get his signature, then he's obviously a talent that needs to be monitored, and that's a good thing. And it probably makes sense for us with the back four that we've got at the moment, just because of Thiago Silva's age. Perhaps, this will be his last season at Chelsea, and therefore you're looking at replacing him. And I think we've already discussed, I mean, out of the four that we've got with Christensen, Silva, Rudiger, and who's the other one? Zuma's the bottom of the list for us, I mean, as fans. And I don't know about Thomas Tuchel, but it appears that way with the game time that he had. So makes sense with the age. And yeah, an exciting prospect. I mean, it came a bit left field. I wasn't expecting Chelsea to possibly go in for a centre half, but from what I've read, I know that he's been a hot prospect for a lot of big clubs. So it could be a good bit of business from Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, The Athletic were reporting that last summer City had a bid of 55 million euros turned down for him, before then obviously going after Ruben Diaz. In terms of Kurt Zouma, George, I think, as you said, it kind of makes sense to bring the price down and include him in the deal. He's obviously kind of fallen out of favour at Chelsea. On his day, he can be a good defender, not featured much under Thomas Tuchel, and he, as you said, probably is bottom of the pecking order in terms of that, and probably the defender who's most likely to have a mistake in him. In terms of Kounde, George, if he does arrive, which he's expected to do so, would you expect him to get a lot of football this coming season?
Hard to say, because for me, I think Christensen and Rudiger are probably the two ones that I would start at the moment in form. Thiago Silva kind of as a more of a leader off the pitch, but will still get the odd game or two, maybe play the more important games with his experience, particularly in European football. So I don't really know. I mean, it depends on the impact he makes. We've always said, I mean, both you and I share this, that, if you're good enough, you play. So there's no reason why not. I don't think anyone was thinking Christensen was going to be a shoe-in starter and play a Champions League final when he was making, mistake after mistake under Frank Lampard. So stranger things have happened. And I think, if he's obviously helped Sevilla qualify for the Champions League for next season, and he's obviously got something that he's more than capable of being a Chelsea starter. So I would expect him to be on the fringes, but you never know.
And do you also think the fact that, as you mentioned, he can play right back as well? Obviously, well documented that we missed out on Hakimi, and we've really only got Reece James there. Azpilicueta can fill in, but he's getting older a bit and doesn't bomb forward as much. Obviously, with Kounde being 22, do you reckon the fact that he's got that versatility to play in right back, do you think that's another thing that's appealed to Chelsea in this deal?
I think that's what got it over the line, and I think that is actually where we might see him play more so. Sorry, my camera's gone then. He might play. I think he might play at right back more often than he does at centre back because of the options that we've got. That might not be a popular opinion, but I believe that he might be fitted in there.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, and as you say, like the options across the back line are always great to have, with injuries, suspensions, etc. over the course of a long season. And I think it also makes sense from a Chelsea perspective. As you mentioned, Thiago Silva now this will probably be his last season. I can't imagine him signing on again for the following season. So, you know, get someone in now to learn the ropes of the club, learn the system, obviously learn from the experience of the likes of Thiago Silva. And then we've got Jules Kounde, who would have been there for a year. He'll then be ready to step up into the system and know it kind of inside out, having been there for a year. And we're not going to be sort of struggling trying to find a centre half to replace Thiago Silva. Do you think that's part of the thinking as well, rather than sort of putting pressure on someone coming in next summer when Silva's gone?
Yeah, definitely, because I think you want that year where he can bed in, and as a youngster, he's got time on his side. So I think it's just trying to address the problem, you know, thinking ahead rather than dealing with it on the spot when Thiago Silva does decide to retire, which is more than likely going to be at the end of next season. So I think it's a sensible move from Chelsea to get someone in who will have a year experience under his belt going into next season and probably being a bit more established in the Chelsea squad. So yeah, I think Chelsea so far in the window have kind of addressed it in the right way. And we're obviously all waiting for the big one, but this is a good step in the right direction for Chelsea for sure.
Yeah, no, I'd 100% agree with that. And I think it goes to show that Chelsea have been doing a lot of their business behind the scenes, keeping it quiet, because this kind of appeared from nowhere. But as we know, with a lot of transfer deals, there's quite a lot of weeks, sometimes months of negotiations before it's kind of made public. So I think Chelsea are working away in the background. It'll be great to get Kounde over the line. It's not quite done yet, but it should be a formality. Personal terms are agreed on the contract into 2026. So hopefully just a matter of days now until Jules Kounde is announced as a Chelsea player. Guys, let us know your thoughts. Are you excited by Kounde's arrival at Chelsea? Do you think it's a necessary signing? Let us know in the comments. As always, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.